My Hero Academia, 10 anime characters who would be a perfect match for Hitoshi Shinso. Hitoshi Shinso probably doesn't have a girlfriend, so it's time to find one for him. Who's a good match for this trainee hero? My Hero Academia has an ensemble cast. Taking time to develop and explore each of its many characters, including the students at the UA school. Some of these students are good friends or even have crushes, such as Ochiko's idolization of Izuku Midoriya. But what about Hitoshi Shinso, Aizawa's new protege? Not much is known of Hitoshi Shinso's personal life, though he does have similar interests as Aizawa, and a roughly similar personality. Hitoshi tends to be calm, rational and serious, but he also longs to be a hero, and he can get riled up and fight for his life in battle, proving he has a fierce side. With all this in mind, who might be a good match for him personally, in the broader world of anime? An ideal girlfriend might have a similar worldview or personality as him, or a different but complementary one. 10. Momo Yaoyorozu is smart, kind. My Hero Academia. In his own universe, Hitoshi Shinso has a few solid dating prospects, the most notable one being Momo Yaoyorozu, the genius girl from Class 1A. She is UA's smartest student and a skilled support hero, and like Hitoshi, she positively burns to become a pro in her own way. Momo and Hitoshi have a lot in common in other regards too, such as the support nature of their quirks and their emphasis on clever tactics and strategy over brute force. If circumstances allowed it, she and Hitoshi would really hit it off. 9. Misaki is smart cool, 2. Maid-sama. Misaki Ayuzawa isn't a superhero with a quirk, but to the girls of Saika High and her little sister, Misaki is indeed a hero, and everyone looks up to her. She works hard as Saika's student council president and a maid cafe employee, and she has a strong sense of responsibility and duty. Misaki is sweet to her friends and tough on her enemies. And that's the kind of girl Hitoshi Shinso would like. She has the heart of a hero and a personality similar to Hitoshi's, so they would get along great if they met. Their first date is bound to turn out well. 8. Sakaki is quiet but sweet. Azumanga Daioh. Sakaki is a perfectly ordinary girl who may not have superpowers or even a seat as the student council president, but she would still appeal greatly to Hitoshi Shinso, who's a fairly down-to-earth sort of fellow. So is Sakaki, though she does have her warm and fuzzy side. For the most part, Sakaki is quiet and a bit aloof, as opposed to the troublemaker Tomo Takino. But she is a loyal friend who loves to care for cats. She will also happily help with class projects and other activities, making her an everyday hero of sorts. 7. Maria Campbell has a lot to prove. My next life as a villainess. Maria Campbell is the heroine of the original Fortune Lover Otome game, a humble and ordinary girl with the extraordinary gift of light magic. She is a kind and sweet person who unfairly suffers at the hands of Katarina Clays the villainess, but she won't dare strike back. She's a pacifist of sorts. Hitoshi Shinso would rush to Maria's aid at once if Katarina bullied her in his presence. And Hitoshi would recognize Maria as a generous and brave girl who just wants to prove herself for all the right reasons. He would see himself in her, and he'd love to get to know her better after that. 6. Hina Tachibana will stand up to bullies. Villains. Tokyo Revengers. Hina Tachibana is a bit like Misaki Ayuzawa. She has no superpowers, but she will bravely stand up to bullies and villains anyway, and stare them down without fear. Hitoshi Shinso would admire that quality in anyone, and he would see Hina as a hero for standing up to Mikey, Draken and other delinquents. Hina is a kind and selfless big sister who just wants everyone to be happy in peace. And she has no tolerance for troublemakers. Hitoshi would be in awe, and he'd be eager to get to know her better and spend an afternoon with her. 5. Azazel Ameri is dignified heroic welcome to demon school, Iromakuen. Azazel Ameri may be a demon, but she has a heart of gold, and she takes pride in her dignified appearance and her position as Babel's student council president. Ameri also has a great fondness for shoujo manga series, and she wanted more than anything to have a dream date with Iruma. If Iruma weren't around, or if he turned Ameri down, then Ameri could try Hitoshi Shinso next, who would admire her as a demonic hero. She's a powerful fighter who will gladly defend the innocent, and she's a smart and polite person. 2. How can Hitoshi say no to that? 4. Princess Yona fights hard for what's right. Yona of the Dawn. Princess Yona is a beloved shoujo heroine, and dire circumstances forced her to become a fighter and hero when all seemed lost. Her childhood friend Su-1 slew her father, and it fell to Yona to gather the dragon warriors and retake the kingdom to restore justice at any cost. Hitoshi Shinso will admire any girl who is a brave and selfless fighter. Like a pro hero, and Yona fits the bill. She is learning quickly to survive and fight, but she never compromised her gentle heart to do it. Hitoshi would gladly join her band of heroes, though he'd have some competition for her heart. 3. Historia Rice learned to be brave. Face her destiny. Attack on Titan. Historia Rice has royal blood, but Eren and his friends didn't know that until later. Historia used to call herself Krista Lenz to hide her royal heritage, until her good friend and lover Emer convinced her to become a true hero. So, she did. Historia became a somewhat darker character later on, but until then, she was totally Hitoshi's type. A brave and noble girl who fought hard for what was right. She was also quite attractive, which drew characters such as Reiner Braun to her. 2. Maki Oz is sweet but knows her duty. Fire Force. Maki Oz is a fire soldier and a former member of the Japanese military. She takes her duty seriously when the alarm sounds. And she is also willing to spar with new recruits like Arthur and Shinra to keep them sharp. Shinra calls himself a superhero for good reason, but Maki could easily say that about herself. 2. Maki is serious during a fight like Hitoshi, but she also has her romantic side when things are peaceful, and Hitoshi would find that endearing rather than obnoxious. Maki is well balanced as a character, making her a fine catch for characters like Hitoshi. She's a fighter and a lover. 1. Hiyori Iki is brave loyal Noragami. Hiyori Iki was an ordinary girl until she had a near-fatal encounter with the minor god Yato, and she soon became one of Yato's most loyal and perceptive companions. She is a kind and empathetic girl who always wants what's best for others, and she won't rest until everyone has learned to get along as friends and respect one another. She is also courageous when the fighting starts, though it helps to have Yato and Yukine around to do the heavy lifting in battle. Hitoshi would see Hiyori as a model support hero and friend, and would like to get to know her better. He'd steer clear of Yato, though.